Guys, when you drop in here, we're gonna help you make a lot of money on this live. So hit us with a love button. No likes. What are we doing? If we don't deliver, you can take your like back. Take your love back. But Jeff, set us up, man. What are we talking about today? What are we gonna help the good people do today?
Something this topic specifically is going to make sure that more times than not, when you submit a bid, you're going to get that client. And it's something that there's just so many questions around this because I think it's mainly how it's presented. And what I'm talking about here is making sure you get your client's budget. Now, a lot of times people, whether it's in the comments or an email or sometimes even the students, like, hey, I went on a walkthrough. I talked to the manager and I asked about the budget, and they were just like, I don't really know. We don't really have a budget. Like, just give us what you got. And it's like, well, I mean, what kind of position does that put you in? No, now you got to guess where you should be on the proposal, and it's just not the best way to go about it. So, um, I know a lot of it is really, it's very simple, but if you don't do it right in the beginning, it's going to kind of set you up for getting that same type of response where it's like, hey, I don't know what the budget is. And when you don't have that, it's just very difficult to put an actual proposal together that's going to win the account. So yeah, man, let's dive into that.
Sounds like you dived into it already. Setting up a poll here for the peeps. But yeah, guys. So here's the thing, too. The importance of getting the budget obviously is going to put you in a really great position to win the business. But it's also going to save you a lot of time, energy, and heartache because flat out, we can't service everybody. Now, if you have a $3,000 per month location, but your budget is a whopping $900, there's nothing we can do there. The only thing we could do there is, by the way, just so everyone's clear, we're talking commercial here, commercial with offices. I understand with residential, it's very different. You could just like walk up, you could just like, bow, $300. That's it. You know what I mean? Or you could tell them from the website. But for commercial, this is commercial is where there's a gray area. There's negotiating. There's like really getting your price. But what I see hurts a lot of people's confidence, especially in the beginning with commercial, is they'll do a walkthrough on account. They won't get the budget. They'll get so excited because they're like, "This is 20,000 square feet. This is going to be incredible, goodness!" And then they go online. Someone tells them to bid by square feet, which big mistake. But anyway, they go do that, and then they're like, they put a bid together of like $10,000 a month, and then they send in the proposal, and then they go online and pick out a car, and what ends up happening is you get ghosted, and that stinks. And I know that feeling. I lived that feeling plenty of times. And if we don't get their budget, this is going to continue to happen. Now, for those of you out there saying, okay, but not really a novel idea, Mike, because I do ask for the budget, they just won't give me the budget. Jeff, you see that a bunch, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, could possibly take from that. Some people are just not going to give the budget. And while there are rare occasions where someone won't give a budget, those are typically monster, like outside of the 10K range. In my experience, it's been like 25K and above, and they really want to put a bid out between like the three top companies in the area. I don't like that game. I don't want to play that game. I don't want to do the blind bidding game. We've done it once, one for one, landed a $42,000 per month account, but it was a nightmare. Not for me. But for these locations at 5 to 10K, there's no reason why they wouldn't give a budget. Why? Because they're already paying for services. So them holding on to a budget really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we're going to get into the how in a second. But Jeff, anything to add before we kind of get into the how?
Yeah, and it's one thing that, of course, it's important to get, but I think a lot of it comes from even before you ask for it, like the whole positioning of it, like you mentioned. There's certain accounts that they just want to have people come in and bid like these monster accounts, and it's just not a fun game to play, like you mentioned, right? The sweet spot seems to be, those 5 to 10K per month clients, kind of like the mid range, which is high ticket on our end, but there's monster franchises and all that that's going to take over like those really huge accounts. But yeah, what I would say is that it starts with positioning, which I know you're going to dive into. So it's yeah, just I think if you can really master this and get to a point where you're not only getting their budget, but you're coming across confident in that part of the questions with them, it's going to change everything. And yeah, that's definitely going to affect everything down the line.
Yeah. So let's kind of break it down like this. Like Jeff said perfectly, it's going to have a lot to do with how you're approaching these clients. Because think about it. Put their hat on for a second. Why would you not give your budget? Well, it's either you've put it out to bid and there's plenty of cleaning companies and they're just really trying to optimize for the cheapest bid. Or I think in their heart of hearts, they know that they probably can't afford a professional company. So they'd rather you not have their true bid just to see, because they know if you're working against other people, you're gonna bid against yourself and come lower. And that stinks. That's a crappy position. And that's why, guys, I always go back to how are you getting these clients? Meaning, how are you getting these walkthroughs? Are you using Bark, Yelp, Angie's List? Are you using Google, ads because you're getting cheap clicks? There's a counter to that, guys. And this again, I'm not speaking like I didn't make these mistakes myself at all. Anyone following me knows for the last 10 years, I have made a zillion and one mistakes. And that's why this group exists, to help you limit that, because those mistakes stink. It stinks. I've underbid accounts. I've bid against myself plenty of times, and it's silly, and it always backfires. Never once did it actually pan out. And I was using these methods of getting clients, but you put yourself at a big time disadvantage. That's the first thing. The second thing, you have to put yourself in a position where you're getting these people to reach out to you. You just have to, guys. It's really unavoidable. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing to have SEO going and then people find you organically. That's or you're working some warmer leads from people you know. Those are fantastic. That's different. But I mean like those clients where you're putting yourself in a position where you're automatically bidding against everyone else. See, my approach to getting clients is to get people before they're ready. I'm not interested in a quick dopamine hit. I got sorry, guys. I'm working from home. I got a toddler upstairs and a newborn. So just so you know, but like, because again, guys, I'll show you exactly what to say. We're gonna talk about that in a second. But I really do want to help make sure I help like kind of like frame how you're looking at this. If they're coming to you, if you're talking to them before they're ready, educating them, touching on their pain points, getting them excited about a potential of not managing the cleaning company, you're not going to be bidding against anybody. And then it's going to make what I tell you to do next so much easier. So much easier. And Jeff, anything on that before I kind of get into anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think something you said just there is just about educating them and speaking to the pain of like, hey, it's not just cleaning. Because if they only look at it as cleaning, yeah, of course, it's like, hey, just give me your best price, kid. That's
Mm,
kind of how that usually ends up. But when you have messaging that pierces through to the problems that they're having right now, and that's beyond cleaning and how cleaning affects the other aspects of their business and what they could be doing if they didn't have to fight with a cleaning company, that's when you position yourself in a totally different way and get them reaching out to you, which is where you're not going to have these types of problems. Which that's the real position you want to be in.
absolutely. So my first cleaning company was a franchise, and I learned a lot. And I remember going with my guy Frank. I used to, when they would secure a walkthrough, they would gauge your interest as a franchisee, and then you would determine on the spot, guys. Once I agreed to the walkthrough, if they landed it, I had no choice. I had to take that account, which is why franchises kind of stink. Not to mention all the crazy investment. But I would see him ask for the budget, and he had a style about him, guys. He kind of would like rock back and forth. Very cool, very personable, very charismatic. But it was weird. Baby wants to rule. My son wants to. He's like, I know, I wasn't there, but it sounds crazy. But you know what I mean? He would bounce back and forth. So he'd do one of these. He'd like, yeah. So like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, is there like a number you can't go over? Like he would kind of ask like that, and they would usually like it'd probably be 50-50 for him. So when I eventually started my second cleaning company with my wife Jess, it was independent, no franchise. So I tried the same thing, guys. And every time I did a walkthrough, I almost never got the budget. But when Jess would do the walkthrough, almost always, like always got the budget. And every time I would come back from the walkthrough, she'd be like, "What's their budget?" Because I was like, "Oh, I'm excited. It's a good opportunity. What's their budget?" I couldn't get it. Why? And it's like I don't know. Like I couldn't. She didn't give it to me. And it's like they always give it to me. And I'm like we were like really sitting there thinking about it, and then that's when we figured it out. Like, okay, Jess, what are you doing versus what am I doing? And you know what the funny thing is, guys? I was approaching it like a freelancer. Like, let me see if I can. Like, maybe I can help you. I don't know. I'm gonna try. Like, that's how I was making it seem. Like it wasn't important. Like I didn't need it. I would like it, but I wouldn't need it. Jess, on the other hand, was the complete opposite. Jess is super sweet, super personable, right? Super outgoing. But Jess came in with a high authority, whereas I came in with like maybe not low, but it wasn't high. Maybe medium authority. Like I was just there to be their friend. Jess was there to solve their problem. Do you see that gap, guys? That's going to be the difference between whether you get their pricing or not. Because, and it's like all the people, and now that's exactly what we do. So instead of doing that, when I asked Jess, what are you doing? Like she would have the same personable conversation, but when it was budget time, she would just kind of reverse engineer it. So this is how you start reverse engineering it, guys. This is where you get the pen and paper out. So it would start with, let's say this is later, much later, because you really want to build some good, strong rapport. You really want to ask them thoughtful questions. What's making you think about changing? But kind of like some of your pet peeves. What are some things they do that drive you nuts? What are some things you like? What's your timeline on making this decision? Things like that. These are all great questions that gets them thinking about how they're not really happy, which creates more urgency, guys. If you are sending out proposals and you are waiting forever to hear back from them, it's because you're not building enough urgency. And you're building urgency in a walkthrough. See, a lot of people, I see it. When they show you how to do a walkthrough online, I see it. And I'm like, that's one way to do it, where it's just look at the square feet, measure, figure out how many exam rooms. Like, yeah, that's important. But it's much more important to get a good sense of the office. Of course, know how many rooms you're working with, what's cleanable space, what's not cleanable space, but then also build rapport, make a connection. Because people aren't going to forget a connection. Okay, they're going to be like, oh, I like that guy. That's Chris from ABC. He's good. I like Chris. You know, these are the things. These are the building blocks to be able to charge more. But if you live in this paradigm of like, people just got people in their budgets, dude. If I had a nickel for every time we got someone over their budget, I mean, I can go retire somewhere. I could have all my nickels. All right, it's not that many nickels, but it does happen a lot. It does happen a lot. And how once you get to that further point in the conversation, reverse engineer it, right? Rev things up slowly, right? And so what you would do is, let's say I'm talking to Jeff. All right, Jeff. Now at this point, I've gotten all the information I've needed. At this point, I'm like, Jeff, so tell me, the current cleaning company, how many days a week are they here currently?
2 days a week.
2 days a week. Okay. And how long are they here?
I mean, they're in and out in 45 minutes.
Gotcha. How many cleaners generally?
It's one, sometimes two, but it's usually one.
Okay. Now, how many cleaners do you think should be here every night?
At least two. Yeah, at least
At
two.
least two. Okay. And just so I get a better sense, what do you think? What do you believe? Two people here on the ball. How long should it take?
Yeah, right now we have one at like 45 minutes. The in and out, it's just not where it should be.
Mm.
And like to clean this place the way it should be clean, what needs to be done, I would say 2 hours. Two people, 2 hours. So like probably 4 hours total.
So you think two people, 4 hours total? In your experience, that gets it done? That like it's a good job being done?
Yeah, I would say because right now we have one at 45 minutes, and less than half of the stuff is like getting breezed over. So I would say at
Okay.
least double what we're getting right now.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right, cool. So that actually that is very useful information. It kind of helps me kind of put everything together. And like I said, I'm going to make it very custom for you and make sure you're taken care of. Just so I have an understanding, what are you currently investing into your cleaning every month?
About about 700.
Okay. Okay. So that is for what you're looking for. I mean, just preliminary numbers, Jeff. Obviously, I would have to go back and crunch, but I already know it does seem like there would be a big gap. Do you guys have, what's your comfort level of going like, you know, further up to, so maybe we could possibly do something together? Because to be quite honest, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. That for what your 4 hours, two cleaners, and just initial numbers, we're going to be really far apart.
Yeah, I mean, based on where we're at right now, we know we need more. So
Mm.
we don't have a huge budget, but we definitely understand that it's going to cost more than what we're paying right now, just because from a time standpoint, it's just not really where we need to be. So,
Okay.
um, so yeah, I don't really know exactly where we could be, but we do
Hmm.
understand that it's going to have to go up somewhat.
Gotcha. Okay, so how about this, Jeff? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'll put together a few different options for you. Before I do that, though, give me your best understanding. I know you're kind of speaking for a few different people right now, but give me your feel on the situation. What is the priority here? Because if I can get you, I'm in the ballpark of that number. What's going to be the bigger priority? That everything gets checked off the box, or that you're going to be significantly happier than what you're getting right now?
Right now, yeah, right now I'd say like the level of clean is definitely the priority, just because
Okay.
it's been so bad. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. And when would you guys be looking to make a move on this?
sometime in the next probably 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay. I already know 3 to 4. All right, that was ninja. I was gonna go another level into that by like touching on the how I can build more urgency to get them sooner. But Jeff, do you want to break down kind of like how I handled that?
Yeah, you. So what was done there from just obviously like from the outside perspective is you you ask questions indirectly that almost kind of got to their budget without them even really just knowing what you were doing, and you framed it as a benefit to them, you know. So instead of just coming out right like, okay, what's the budget, and then I even told you I wasn't sure, and then you just reverse engineered it. So it's like, okay, you don't know the number, but how much actual clean are you looking for? And then you just reverse engineered how long it took for the cleaners right now, and then why you weren't happy. Like, there was a big gap there. And then how long do you think it should take? And it's like, oh, that's such a great question. How long do you think it should take? Because now they're just they're kind of basically writing it for you in a sense of like, oh wow, yeah, not at least 4 hours. And it's like, okay, well that's gonna reflect on the proposal, and it's gonna make sense now. um so yeah, very ninja like stuff there.
What else was I doing though?
Creating a gap.
High authority.
Yeah.
Guys, is this making sense to you? Let me know. Let me know what questions you have, or if you've what kind of objections you've dealt with. But you really just want to give the impression that you are happy to turn around and not give a price at all. You're very
Yeah.
happy because, guys, if they need $7,000 per month worth of cleaning, but they have a $3,000 budget, that guys, that's impossible. Yes, your desire for having us show up 7 days a week, unless you change that desire from like, well, if you could do a really great job 3 days a week, we can handle some of the in-house cleaning. Which again, I still wouldn't touch that size account like that, but it is a deal I would do on, let's say, a dentist office that's probably going to be around 3,200 per month at 5 days a week, but going down to 3 days a week, coming down like 1,500. That's a deal I'm willing to do, but I'm not willing to make that jump with the larger spaces.
Absolutely, guys. Let us know. For those of you who have been on a walkthrough before and dealt with, oh yeah, I don't really know what the budget is. Like, kind of give me your best price. The scenario Mike just laid out for you here, was that helpful?
Give
Let
me
us
your
know in the
best
comments.
price. Sorry, I'm getting mad. Give me your best price. Give me your. Well, guys, and again, that kind of tends to be our reality if we're timid about it, and you don't need to be a master salesperson. It's not about that. If anything, that's why that's why I'm a huge proponent of clever marketing, because your marketing is going to do a lot of your work for you. So if you're intimidated by sales, don't be. This is an easy conversation. It's going to be much more straightforward and much more simpler if your marketing has already been touching on those pain points,
Yep.
touching on the possible solution of what your company could provide. That's one of those things, guys, can make a huge difference. Just how you approach it. Just be willing to walk out, not in a rude way. It's not about that. It would just be, like Jeff, role play it where you're like, the budget's the budget, right? So if I like Jeff, so what? Pretend I asked all those questions. So what? I don't know what budget. Yeah, like what would you say your current like? Or no, actually, in this particular example, I would say, gotcha. And what are you currently investing into your cleaning currently?
Okay, so I'm
Twice.
not moving off the budget here. That
No,
was
no, no. Just say, yeah. Let's just say I already know this is going to be a 7K account, or at least ballpark, and you're at like 2,500, which it happens
yeah,
because all those
yeah,
underbidders out there.
yeah.
Go
Okay.
ahead. So Jeff, what are you currently investing into your cleaning?
Right now we're paying 2,500.
5 days a week of cleaning.
Yes.
When did you? Do you remember when you kind of put that bid together? Like, meaning when did you? When did you start with this company?
Just over 3 years ago.
Gotcha. Yeah, the reason why I asked Jeff is because just preliminary notes here. I already know I'm not going to be anywhere close to that. I mean, do you guys have flexibility to go upward? Because if you don't, we're really far apart, and I don't think we should waste each other's time.
Yeah, no, 25 is kind of where we're at. We're not really looking to go any further.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, Jeff, great meeting you, man. Have a great day. Seriously, guy, it's that simple. Because if you don't, like, what's the opposite, right? So, like, Jeff, go right back into that role play.
Yeah.
Let's do the opposite, where I'm not gonna have authority. I'm gonna go low authority. Go do it again.
All right. Yeah, we're at 2,500 a month right now. That's what we're paying.
Oh, okay. It's just I think it's gonna be more than that. So, do you? What's kind of like your maximum budget?
25. We were actually looking to go lower.
Okay, because it just looks like it's going to be more than that to kind of get to the level of what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's probably not going to work. We got a few people bidding right now that are kind of in that ballpark.
Okay, okay, all right. So, I guess if we did it for 25, are there certain, you know,
Are you mad at me?
you mad at me? Are you mad at me? Please, please don't be that. Please don't do that. Please.
It was a mock, and it was still uncomfortable looking at.
I was very uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable. But I get it, guys. I get it. If you're like, let's say you're in a position, because again, I'm not making light of the fact that you're trying to bring in business. We're business owners. I know that. I'm making light of the fact of if you don't respect you, nobody's going to respect you. And you have to set that standard. You have to be the company that's willing to tell them based on what you told me you wanted, just preliminary numbers without even putting anything together. I know there's a chasm between us. Not a gap. It's a chasm. It's like we have the Grand Canyon between us. It's important to let them know in the beginning because again, you either one only a couple of options can happen. The first thing is I tell Jeff that, and Jeffy's like, Jeffy. Tell Jeff that, and Jeff's like, well, yeah, no, I mean, I suppose, yeah, I mean, there's some flexibility because again, you don't. I'm not expecting Jeff to say, "Oh no, I love you, Mike. You're amazing. I'm willing to go to 50K for you." It's not that. You just need to hear willingness because if there's willingness, then I could put together a few different proposals, right? Same proposal, but a few different options within that proposal. And then I have a much higher likelihood of getting them in. And then over time, they see you, they can count on you, they trust you. Then you can start adding things in. And then you can, let's say if it was 7, and then I got Jeff to join on at 4, if his budget was 25 and he was willing to work with me. If I got him in at 4, maybe I'm working one less day, meaning the proposal is like one less clean per week, and 2 of the cleans are very light. So 2 days more intensive, 2 days not so intensive. You see what I'm saying, guys? There's a lot of deal making. I love this part of the game so much. It's so much fun. So it's definitely not something you guys should feel trepidatious about. Like, don't feel like, oh man, I'm nervous about this. No, 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 no. Keep an expert frame, which probably our next one, guys. Would you guys like another one of these where we could tell you how to crush a walkthrough? Let us know in the comments.
It's funny. I think an underlying thing here too is that, of course, like you mentioned, you have to know, you have to be willing to walk away, right? Because that's, that's going to ooze into how you act, how you come across, and it's going to make you, look like an authority figure when, you're just like, hey, this is where we have to be. Otherwise, like, why would I put a proposal together? And something that's, some other thing there that I think we didn't touch on yet is that of course, not everyone's gonna just like do what you said. Like, oh, Mike, you're this great and powerful wizard, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna pay you whatever we want. Like, no, that's not the case, like you mentioned. But a lot of times, they might initially go with somebody else who's gonna, pay less than what they're currently paying right now, even though they're not happy, and somehow just go with the lowest bid. And but when that happens, if they're just think about this for a second, think about the psychology. They're already unhappy with what they're currently paying, and they're usually looking to pay lower or the same. And what are you going to get for people who are underbidding? You're going to get people who they're like a one man team, a one woman team, and they come in, they're doing the cleaning themselves, and they know that it's way underpriced. So are they going to do a good job? No, they're gonna, they're gonna cut corners. They're gonna try to get in and out of there as fast as they can because they're not getting paid enough. And months are gonna, a month or two is gonna go by, and then all of a sudden they're gonna be in the exact same situation they're in right now. And who are they gonna call? Who are they gonna call, Mike?
Tyrone. I mean, Mike. We're gonna call Mike. We're gonna call on Tyrone. That's it, guys. That's it. And because again, how you'll leave a lasting impact on people when especially when you have a confidence, right? Right. When we try to think about like the people we're, let's say, attracted to, I don't mean necessarily in terms of looks, just in general. Like, you're just like, oh, I like you. You're just cool. Something about you. That's something about you is typically confidence. And it's not like a shrewd jock confidence, like I'm the high school quarterback and everyone loves me. It's not that. It's just sure of yourself, sure of your company. You're providing a great service. Generally, people find their way into like a group like this, especially with the way I talk, because I'm not talking about bashing the phones and making as much money as possible. Like, you're gonna make money. I'd rather, but less accounts paying more is my methodology. Less accounts means I can take better care of my customers. If I have 100 accounts, that's overwhelming. Hats off to you, to the resi folks out there crushing with tons and tons and tons of houses. Hats off. You have my respect. That's a lot. For me, I'm like, what's much more simple is if I have, like, let's say I'm starting out in a year's time, starting from scratch, and I had like 10 offices, high ticket offices at 5K a piece, it's 50K a month, just 10 offices. I just have 10 off. I would only need one nighttime manager. That's the thinking. So if you care about your customers, you already get a big leg up with your competition. So be self-assured. Be self-assured of your service. Be willing to turn your back and walk out of a location. But guys, I promise you, if you execute a good walkthrough, you're not gonna have to do that. You're not gonna have to do that much. Yeah, unless someone's completely unreasonable, which again, you would just part as friends. You don't pass a comment, give them a dirty look, nothing like that. Oh, you're out of your mind. No, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. All I'm saying is you say, you know what, Jeff, I totally respect that. So, good luck. Have a good day. That's it. Just shake hands, part as friends, get moving. Hey, what's going on? MikeMak here. Thanks for watching this week's training. If you want to catch these things live, you could always join my free Facebook group. First link in the description. And if you would like my team to personally help you and walk you through every step of the way to scaling your high ticket cleaning business to where you're profiting 10K per month and beyond without doing any cleaning, then go ahead and click the second link in the description, book a call, chat with my team, see if there's a fit. For everyone else, I'll see you on the next one.